Hi, welcome to week 2 on our work on the book The Island at the End of Everything. So we're on session 6 this week, and we are going to give and explain the meaning of words in context. So we're doing a lot of monitoring. So thinking about are there any synonyms or antonyms that would fit instead of using that word and reading around the word. Putting that image into your head of what is going on in order for you to understand the words. So, you've already read this many times. I've already read this to you many times. So take another go at reading it yourself. Pause the video and then press play when you're ready for today's lesson content. Okay. So we're going to do some guided practice first of all. All of the questions are questions that you're really used to doing in class anyway. So you probably will think, I maybe don't need this guided practice. Watch it anyway, just for a little refresher. Okay, so this next bit of the video is for the bronze and silver groups. Golds I will come to you as well, but not just yet. But it's worth watching golds anyway to make sure that you could do these two jobs before moving to gold. So the bronze task has got 3 choices for the answer. The silver task does not, but they are the same questions. So silvers, you need to be thinking of what these words mean yourself. So question 1 is we have oceans clear, and the question tells you that we're focusing on the meaning of the word clear. So I just need to picture in my head what something clear looks like, and I'm going to try and picture what a clear ocean looks like. So when I've got that picture in my head, I'm going to try and replace the word clear with another word. Now, the first things that come to my head is see-through. So we have oceans, see-through. But see-through isn't probably the best year 6 bit of vocabulary. So instead, I would think of words for scientific words that mean the same as see-through. And the word that I come up with is transparent. So that's my answer. All I need to write is the word transparent because it's just asking me what does the word clear mean. If you write see-through or it can be seen through, then that's okay, but we want to try and impress our readers of our work with the best bit of vocabulary in our answer that we can. Now, transparent is also one of the 3 options for you if you are a bronze worker. Right there. So, another guided practice, we're now on to the phrase filled with sea turtles and dolphins, and the word that it's asking us to understand is the word filled. So now I'm going to start to think of filled. Now, it doesn't make sense in the context of that sentence because it doesn't tell us what is filled with sea turtles and dolphins, but I can gather that it's the oceans. If I read back, it says oceans filled with sea turtles and dolphins. So picture that in my head. Means lots of, doesn't it? If something's filled with sea turtles or dolphins, it means there are lots of. But once again, I want to try and use one word that I could replace. So instead of saying oceans filled with sea turtles and dolphins, I could say oceans brimming with sea turtles and dolphins. I could say oceans full of sea turtles and dolphins, but then I would get rid of the word with. So brimming means overflowing, and overflowing would be another good option. But on the bronze task, brimming is the option that you would need to tick. So your independent practice now, bronzes and silvers. You have these 4 questions, questions 3 to 6. Both of you have the same questions. Again, it's just the way your answers are presented. If you are working on paper, then you've got the space below if you are silver. If you're working on paper, then bronzes, you'll be ticking in the boxes. If you're working on Teams, you'll be able to scroll below and then type your answers, okay? So have a really good go at that. Bronzes, you will need to type the right word underneath. So, question 3, or forest-covered hills lush with birds. What does the word lush mean? Question 4, or thick with warmth. What does the word thick mean? Question 5, cover their noses with cloth stuffed with herbs. What does the word stuffed mean? Question 6, then to numb. What does the word numb mean? Pause the video, and when you are ready to have a look at the answers, press play. When you look at the answers, which you must do, please edit and improve your work. Now, if you're working on Teams, you know how we do that. If you've got a different colour pen, then please write next to it the right answer. Now, if you are working on Teams, you can actually change the colour of your font. So that is what I would like you to do. So I'd like you to write your first answer in the normal black font and then watch the answers. And if you need to change them, correct it with purple pen. Don't type over it. Go next to it, just like you would if you were normally working in your book. Pause the video now and have a go at your independent practice. Okay, time for the answers. So the word lush means full. Forest-covered hills full with birds. The word thick also means full or full of warmth. Cover their noses with cloths stuffed with herbs. What does the word stuffed mean? It means packed. The cloths are packed with herbs. Then to numb, what does the word numb mean? Unfeeling. So lush means full. Again, you could have overflowing, brimming, any word that means the same as full, filled with. Thick might mean full, it might mean heavy with warmth. Stuffed means packed or shoved. But I think shoved is maybe a little bit too informal. And then numb, the word numb means that you can't feel anything. So anything along the lines of that you cannot feel anything. If you haven't got the same answers, then purple pen them afterwards. Now we're moving on to the gold task. So well done, golds, for sticking with us through bronze and silver. Let's see what your task is. You had questions 1 and 2 were some independent silver practice. So hopefully you have had a little go at that. But what we're doing now is similar to what bronze and silver did and focusing on certain words, but you have to think about what it then tells you about something else. So we're going to do this one guided. What does the word lush tell you about the environment of the island? So step 1, I need to define lush. I need to recognise that lush means brimming, full of, overflowing. And then I need to relate that back to the environment on the island. So I can say, the environment is completely occupied with life. It's completely full of life. It is completely brimming with life. I must reference the environment because that was in the question. So that was our first one for guided practice. Now our second one, what does the word thick suggest about the air? So I know that the word thick normally means dense. The air is dense. Now that word might be difficult to think about when we're talking about the air, so we'll talk about it being full of. So the air is full of warmth from the word thick. The air is so full of warmth that it almost feels heavy, and it is harder to breathe due to the humidity. So I can add a bit more there. If you only wanted to put the air is really full of warmth, or the air feels heavy because of the amount of warmth, then that would be fine as well. So now it's time for you to have a go independently. And you've got these 4 questions. What does the word stuffed tell you about how the men filled their cloths? So that's how the men filled their cloths. What does the word numb suggest about the pain in the narrator's legs? How does the word stumble support the idea that the narrator is having trouble walking? How does the word duck support the idea that the men on the boat are not helpful? Pause the video, and then when you are ready to find out the answers, press play. Okay, answer time. Question 5. What does the word stuffed tell you about how the men filled their cloths? They forced the herbs into the cloths until they were holding more than they could comfortably contain. If your answer has anything to do with those cloths being absolutely packed to the brim, potentially about to overflow with herbs, we need that. But how they filled it is they did it so that it would hold more than it should. Something to do with forcing it in, and there's too much. So if you aren't convinced that you got the right answer, what I'd like you now to do is, if you're working on paper, get another colour pen and write the correct answer next to it. If you're working on Teams, I would like you to type below your answer, but change the colour font to purple and write in the answer that you now think is the right answer. Pause the video if you need before we move on to question 6. Question 6. What does the word numb suggest about the pain in the narrator's legs? So, sorry about that, because that should say the pain was so intense, but actually I've done a typo, the main the pain was so intense that it resulted in the narrator losing all feelings in their legs. So you need to talk about the fact that numb means no feeling, and that the pain was incredible. It was massive in order for that to happen. Again, purple pen / purple font it to correct. Pause if you need. Let's move on to question 7. How does the word stumble support the idea that the narrator is having trouble walking? So we're thinking about the first stumble means they're nearly falling over, and then linking that to the walking. So the word stumble suggests that the narrator is almost falling over and is unsteady on their feet. This would mean that they are unable to walk properly. So they're having trouble walking because they can't walk properly. Again, you know the score, purple pen it to make any corrections if you need to. These purple pen elements are important to do before you hand it in, okay? So please, we want to see that you are self-marking as well when we're having a look. It's part of what you would normally do in the lesson. Okay, final question. How does the word duck support the idea that the men on the boat are not helpful? The men quickly lower themselves in a squatting motion, dipping their heads to stop them from getting too close to the falling people. Because they move away like this, they are avoiding the people on the boat and not helping them. So I've defined what duck means, a quick movement downwards by dipping your head, and they're doing that to stop them from getting close. Now they're not helpful because they're moving away and avoiding people without helping them. So again, purple pen / purple font it, and then hand your work in. Well done, good work today.